One of the biggest reasons for the OKC Thunder's emergence as the best young team in the NBA right now has definitely been Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's ascent to All-NBA first-team territory as one of the most unstoppable yet one of the most efficient scoring machines in the entire league. However, I think one thing that's really been overlooked as a huge component of the Thunder's success has been their prowess on the defensive end. Last season, OKC produced the number 12 ranked defense in the NBA while also posting the 5th best half-court defensive rating in the entire league. But the crazy thing is, OKC was able to do that despite not having a true elite shot-blocking interior presence on the team. So the question is, how did the Thunder manage to hold up defensively despite their obvious lack of size in the interior? But more importantly, how much better will the Thunder become on this end of the floor moving forward now that 7'1" unicorn Chet Holmgren is finally about to anchor the team's defense, especially with Holmgren seen as one of the best defensive bigs to enter the NBA over the past 20 seasons, after he recorded the third highest shot blocking rate in college basketball since 2003, only behind Jaren Jackson Jr. and Anthony Davis. So what's good everyone, it's Real Balls here, and in this video, let's dive deeper into the OKC Thunder's emerging defensive identity and why this team is primed to shut down the NBA's best offensive teams over the next few years. So let's get to it. Ever since their 7-foot starting center Aleksej Pokusevski went down to injury early last season, the Thunder were forced to slot in a variety of options at center, ranging from Jaylin Williams, Jeremiah Robinson-Earl to Kenrich Williams, with none of those guys really being true rim protectors. So without a legitimate shot blocker to protect the paint, OKC had to rely on their guards and wings to apply constant ball pressure towards opponents, with the goal of disrupting the opposing team's ball movement even before they got the chance to get the ball in the paint. And OKC actually succeeded using this ball pressure-based strategy as they finished last season ranking 4th in steals per game, 7th in deflections per game, and number 1 in terms of forcing opponents to commit turnovers. But to be honest, I think it shouldn't really be that surprising that OKC managed to be this disruptive on the perimeter given all the pieces that they had. Obviously, they have one of the best one-on-one defenders in the league in Lu Dort, who often led the charge in terms of pressuring ball handlers from the point of attack, while secondary defenders like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and J-Dub worked on the wings, using their long wingspans to get steals, capitalizing on the mistakes that opponents made in the passing lanes. Then, if that wasn't enough, switchable defenders like Josh Giddey, Kenrich Williams, Tre Mann, Ousmane Dieng, and Aaron Wiggins were also given the task of sinking down towards the paint whenever ball handlers were able to withstand the initial ball pressure. But really, when you watch them play defense, you'll see that all of these players' roles are basically interchangeable in OKC's system because of just how all these guys have great positional size on the perimeter. Here, as Paolo Banchero brings the ball down in semi-transition, watch how Lu Dort anticipates the incoming screen from Ball as he moves his hip and tracks Banchero on the drive. The pressure causes Banchero to lose his handle, and you can see Shai just capitalizing on this as he grabs the steal, which leads to the easy fast break finish by JRE on the other end. Then this time, you see Shai as the primary defender in the pick and roll by Dallas. Dinwiddie loses Shai off the screen, but then Giddey picks up the switch while the entire defense sinks into the paint. But watch Shai recover and swipe the ball away from behind as Kenrich Williams gets the ball and clears the way for another OKC fast break finish, this time by Lu Dort. Then right here, OKC throws in a little bit of a zone against the Magic. Right here, you see Giddey quickly closing out on Markelle Fultz on the wing. The pressure forces Fultz to find an open man, but on the weak side, watch how J-Dub anticipates the pass to Franz Wagner, using his length to get the steal as he takes it coast to coast for another easy transition bucket. As you can see, with the type of ball pressure they used on opponents, not only did OKC manage to get stops, but they were also able to seamlessly turn defense into offense, as the Thunder also averaged the second most points off turnovers in the NBA last season. But I think what's even more impressive is that even when opponents got the ball into the paint and were able to get shots off in the interior against them, the Thunder still made it a point that they at least contested a lot of those shots. And as a result, despite OKC allowing opponents to take 30.1 shot attempts in the paint per game last season, which was the 12th most in the NBA, OKC still limited opponents to just 63% shooting on those attempts, which was a top 10 defensive mark in the entire league. Well, credit big man Jaylin Williams for trying to protect the rim the best he could, which he did by drawing offensive fouls at an elite rate. In fact, J-Will led the entire NBA in charges drawn per game last season. But still, J-Will wasn't really a vertically elite shot blocking big man, which is why OKC still had to utilize whatever weak side defense offensive help they could use from their wings. And as a result, guys like Lu Dort, J-Dub, and Kenrich Williams were given the extra task of rotating near the basket on most possessions, making them de facto small ball rim protectors for OKC. In this possession, the Thunder does a great job of initially walling off the ball handler. Talen Horton-Tucker still tries to set up a deep pick and roll, but as he's about to throw the lob pass, watch J-Dub from the weak side just filling the lane, using his verticality to stop the potential alley-oop. Then here, Royce O'Neal passes the ball to Joe Harris on the wing. J-Dub tries his best to slow down Harris on the drive, but also watch Lu Dort's effort here on the paint as he times Harris and provides the excellent weak side defense. Well, with the Thunder sinking down a lot in the paint and prioritizing taking away easy shots at the rim, you might expect them to give up a lot of open three-point shots instead and to be torched from the perimeter on a nightly basis. But the thing is, this actually hasn't been the case. In fact, OKC has also managed to contain opposing teams from firing away from deep by using the same read and react principles that they employ in the paint. Whenever opposing teams kick the ball out and find an open man, OKC expects their nearest defender to go for the hard closeout, preventing opponents from getting wide open looks from behind the arc. This is why, despite OKC having allowed the 7th most three-point attempts per game in the NBA last season, opponents are just converting less than 36% on those three-point attempts, which was only the 15th best mark in the entire league. Here, you can see Trae Young being trapped by Shai and Ousmane Dieng. Trae finds the cutting Jalen Johnson, who then kicks the ball out to AJ Griffin, who's about to have an open three. But then you can see Lu Dort just rushing from the paint to make sure that he gets to challenge the shot and force the miss. Then this time, you see Naz Reid on the post forcing OKC's defense to collapse. He kicks the ball out to Anthony Edwards on the wing, but then watch Isaiah Joe on the lane anticipating the extra pass, just reacting effectively as he contests the shot by Jaden McDaniels. Well, there's no denying that OKC has done a great job of finding a balance between defending both the paint and the perimeter. Still, the problem is when opposing bigs get switched to a smaller Thunder player on the post, or when explosive big men get too deep in the pick and roll, the Thunder simply struggle to defend those actions, again because of their lack of interior size. Just like in this play, Orlando dumps the ball to Wendell Carter Jr. on the high post. Watch how he just uses his size and length to overpower JRE as the big man easily forces his way in and scores even with the help defense from Shai. Then this time, you can see Luka Doncic running a pick and roll play with Powell. With Lu Dort trapped by the screen, JRE just can't do much as the drop defender. Powell gets deep and just easily catches the alley-oop pass from Luka. Then again here, just watch Karl Anthony Towns exploit the mismatch against Aaron Wiggins on the post. J-Dub tries to pressure Cat with a double team, but Cat uses a quick spin. Dario Saric is left helpless in the paint, trying to contain both Cat and Gobert as Cat finishes the and one. But now, everything changes for OKC as they can now basically place Chet Holmgren instead to defend either one of those actions. And with his size, wingspan, mobility, and ability to function either as a post-up big, a drop defender, or even as a help side rim protector, the Thunder's defense will just be much more suffocating. Here, watch how Chet guards Zach Collins on the low block. Collins tries to move him with a drop step, but watch how Chet gives Collins just the right amount of space before he traps him and completely blocks his shot. Then this time, you can see Chet acting as the defensive anchor in the drop coverage. Jaden Hardy tries to set up his roll man, but Chet just totally walls off any passing lane. Hardy runs out of options and decides to attack the rim, only to get smothered by Chet's size and length. Then here, Utah runs a side pick and roll, and you can see Keontae George getting a step ahead of Tre Mann, but as George approaches the rim, Chet just jumps off coming from the weak side and easily gets the two-handed block. Well, with Chet Holmgren regularly providing this kind of steady shot-blocking presence for OKC in the paint, especially as he gets stronger, sooner or later, I think you can just expect opponents to adjust their overall shot selection against the Thunder by avoiding shooting at the rim and instead settling for lower percentage shots from the perimeter, which should just further boost OKC's defensive rating. Crazy thing is, not only is Chet a seamless fit with OKC's rim protection principles, but he also fits their ball pressure schemes as well. Cause unlike other shot-blocking 7-footers out there, Chet has solid mobility for a big man. Even if opposing teams try to pull him away from the paint to get him switch against quicker players, you can still expect him to be able to pressure ball handlers using his size and length. Right here, the possession starts with Damian Lillard being guarded by Shai. The screen from Robin Lopez forces Chet to get switched to Dame, but just watch how Chet completely forces Lillard into a corner before completely blocking his jumper. Again here, Chet is forced to switch against a wing on the perimeter. The guy tries to catch him with a shot fake, but Chet stays disciplined and completely walls off his drive. The guy runs out of space and tries to turn around jumper, only to get stifled by Chet on the perimeter. Again, we have to remember that the Thunder have already managed to produce an above-league average defense despite having a size disadvantage. But now with Chet finally stepping on the court for OKC, there are enough reasons to believe that this team could easily transform into a top 5 defense as soon as next season, especially considering that what separated them from the number 10 ranked defense of the Minnesota Timberwolves was just 0.1 points per 100 possessions. At the end of the day, defense wins championships in basketball, and the Thunder already got something special going on for them on that end. But add to that the continuing emergence of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as one of the best offensive weapons in the entire league, as well as the unlimited supply of two-way potential that OKC's young core has, and it's not hard to picture the Thunder getting back to NBA championship contention sooner rather than later. So thank you guys if you've actually made it this far into the video, but how far do you think can the OKC Thunder actually go next season? Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this is Real Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.